All right, Bears fans, it's time for a reality check. All off season long, while everyone's been busy talking about draft picks, Caleb Williams, the new offensive coordinator, and what the defense might look like in 2025, we've completely overlooked one name that just a year ago had the fan base buzzing, DeAndre Swift. And yeah, I'm guilty too. Guilty of sleeping on a player who, under the right circumstances, can still be a major difference maker for this football team. Today, we're waking up to that reality and unpacking why the narrative around Swift needs to change fast. Now, rewind back to when the Bears brought in DeAndre Swift. The excitement was real. He was coming off his most efficient year on the ground with the Philadelphia Eagles, showing flashes of the kind of talent that made him such a dynamic threat in Detroit. But fast forward to now, and the talk around Swift has gone cold. It's like he disappeared from the spotlight, and most of us just accepted that his performance last season was who he is now. But when you start digging into the why, the reasons behind that statistical drop-off, you start to see that there's a bigger story here. And it's one that paints a much more optimistic picture heading into 2025. Let's talk numbers. Last season, DeAndre Swift's rushing efficiency took a serious dip. We're talking about a fall from an average of 4.6 yards per carry to just 3.8. That's not a small decline. That's a full yard loss per carry. His rushing success rate also dropped from over 54% to under 44%. And if you're wondering what exactly that means, it's a measure of how often a running back gains the necessary yardage on a given down. At least 40% on first down, 60% on second, and 100% on third or fourth. So yeah, it's a stat that tells you a lot about how effective and efficient a runner is, and Swift just wasn't hitting those marks like he did the year before. But here's the key. This isn't just about Swift and what he did or didn't do. You can't look at those numbers in isolation. You have to look at the situation around him. When Swift was with the Eagles, he was running behind arguably the best offensive line in the league. We're talking about Jason Kelce, Landon Dickerson, Lane Johnson, Cam Jurgens, and Jordan Mailata. Guys who not only protect the quarterback, but open massive lanes for the run game. That Eagles unit was a machine, and they gave Swift the kind of consistent blocking every back dreams about. Then you look at what Swift had to work with in Chicago last season, and it's night and day. Braxton Jones missed 5 games. Tevin. Jenkins was in and out of the lineup. The interior was a revolving door. Coleman Shelton was a downgrade at center. Matt Pryor, who's now back to fighting for a depth role in Philly, was starting. Even Darnell Wright, who has potential, missed some time. The whole unit was inconsistent, injury-prone, and at times just flat out overwhelmed. So is it any surprise that Swift's numbers took a hit? Of course not. This wasn't about Swift suddenly forgetting how to run. This was about the context. And it matters that on top of that, let's not forget the scheme. As much as we might have liked the idea of what Luke Getsy or Shane Waldron could do, the reality is that the offensive system in Chicago was a mess. There was no rhythm, no identity, and no real commitment to using Swift in ways that played to his strengths. Remember, in Philly, he wasn't just a runner, he was a weapon. He caught passes. He made plays in space. But last season, his receiving numbers were way down. That wasn't because he forgot how to catch. That was on the system. The Bears simply didn't maximize what they had. But here's where things start to shift. Because heading into 2025, the Bears have made real, tangible changes that could completely alter the way Swift is used and how successful he can be. First and foremost, the offensive line looks poised to be a lot better. Joe Thuney comes in as one of the top guards in football. Drew Dalman brings physicality and consistency at center. And if Jonah Jackson can stay healthy, that interior trio might actually be a strength. Ozzie Trapillo is in the mix at left tackle, and Darnell Wright continues to grow. If this line stays healthy, we're talking about a unit that can open holes, control the line of scrimmage, and give Swift room to work. And the scheme. With Ben Johnson now calling plays and Eric Bieniemy working with the offense, there's finally a sense of direction. Johnson has a track record of maximizing talent, and Bieniemy is known for getting the best out of his running backs. These are two coaches who know how to put players in positions to succeed, and Swift stands to benefit as much as anyone. If you've been watching what Johnson did with running backs in Detroit, you know he values versatility. That bodes well for Swift. who's always been at his best when he's not just running between the tackles, but catching passes, lining up in space, and keeping defenses guessing. Now, let's also be honest about Swift's flaws. He's not perfect. He does dance too much at times. He can be a little too eager to bounce runs outside trying to make the big play instead of taking the 3 yards that are there. Coaches have pointed this out. Ben Johnson himself has acknowledged it, and Swift has to clean that up. You're not going to juke 3 defenders in the NFL on every play. Sometimes the smart move is just hitting the hole and falling forward for positive yardage. But again, if the blocking improves, some of those bad habits might naturally go away. If he's not constantly dealing with defenders in the backfield, maybe he doesn't feel the need to make magic every time he touches the ball. And that's where the most exciting part of all this comes in. The big picture. Because this offense, on paper, has the potential to take a huge step forward. Caleb Williams, assuming he develops the way many expect, will stretch the field and force defenses to respect the pass. That means fewer stacked boxes. That means more space for Swift to operate. And when defenses are worried about DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Rome Odunze, and Cole Kmet, someone like Swift can sneak out of the backfield and make a defense pay. He's not a Christian McCaffrey or Saquon Barkley. He's not that rare elite tier. But he doesn't have to be. He just has to be what he is, a good player in a better situation. And that's what gets lost in all this offseason talk. It's easy to write guys off after a down year. It's easy to get caught up in what's new and shiny, but DeAndre Swift is still here. He's still capable. And with the upgrades around him, both in terms of personnel and scheme, there's every reason to believe he can bounce back in a big way. He doesn't need to be the focal point of the offense. He just needs to be efficient, reliable, and dangerous when the opportunity presents itself. If he can average over 4 yards per carry, catch 40 to 50 passes, and contribute in the red zone, that's a massive win for the Bears. And look, if Roschon Johnson or Kyle Monaghan steps up and takes some of the workload, that's fine. In fact, that might be ideal. Swift doesn't need 20-plus carries a game. What he needs are quality touches in the right moments with the right blocking in front of him. That's how you get the best version of DeAndre Swift, the version that's fast, shifty, and dangerous in space. The version that can be a real asset in a playoff push. So, no, he's not going to lead the league in rushing. He's not going to win Offensive Player of the Year. But could he be a crucial part of this team turning the corner and competing in the NFC North? Absolutely. And if that happens, we'll all look back on this offseason and wonder how we ever let him fall so far off the radar. And let's not forget the ripple effect that comes from simply having a competent offensive structure. Something the Bears lacked last season in more ways than one. The chain reaction of a better scheme starts with the offensive line doing its job. That gives Caleb Williams more time, which means cleaner play action looks, which means linebackers and safeties have to think twice about creeping up. That opens space. That opens running lanes. That opens windows for DeAndre Swift to hit those explosive plays that have defined the best moments of his career. You give a back like Swift that extra split second of daylight, and he can turn a 4-yard gain into 12. He's not going to bulldoze people like Derrick Henry or glide past defenders like Christian McCaffrey with surgical precision. But when he's got the runway, he can still burn. We also have to talk about timing, because that's something that's going to work in Swift's favor in a big way this season. The entire offense is new. Everyone is learning a fresh playbook. There's a new quarterback, a revamped line, new weapons at wide receiver. That means defenses won't be able to key in on one player. There won't be an obvious focus like there has been in previous years. Opposing defensive coordinators won't walk into game week saying, we stopped this guy. We stopped the Bears. Not anymore. Now it's we got to deal with DJ, then Keenan, then Odunze. Oh, and Swift might leak out too. That uncertainty is gold for a running back who thrives on catching defenses just a half step too slow. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Chicago Bears. And don't be shy, drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. In what could become one of the most talked about moves of the offseason, there's a growing buzz around the league that the Chicago Bears have struck a deal, or are on the verge of, with rising star running back Omarion Hampton. Though no official statement has been released by the franchise, Multiple sources close to the situation suggest that the Bears and Hampton have reached a verbal agreement that would bring the explosive back to Chicago for the upcoming season. The rumor mill started churning late Monday night after Hampton was spotted in the Windy City, reportedly meeting with Bears front office personnel. While his visit could be chalked up to a mere exploratory talk, insiders are indicating the conversation went far deeper than that. Whispers from Hallis Hall suggest the team has been quietly pursuing Hampton for weeks, intrigued by his blend of speed, power, and field vision, qualities that could immediately elevate the Bears' offense. Hampton, who turned heads with his breakout performances at the collegiate level, has been on the radar of several NFL teams. His ability to break tackles and rack up yards after contact makes him a perfect fit for a team looking to add dynamism to its ground game. With the Bears in a critical stage of rebuilding and seeking to ease pressure on their young quarterback, a player like Hampton could be a game-changing addition. Still, this remains unconfirmed, and Bears management has kept quiet, neither denying nor confirming the reports. That silence is only fueling speculation. Could this be a strategic move to keep other teams at bay until the deal is finalized? If the rumors prove true, Omari and Hampton might just be the spark Chicago's offense has been lacking. For now, fans and analysts alike are left to connect the dots and wonder whether this developing story will culminate in one of the most impactful signings of the offseason. Stay tuned. The Bears may be preparing to roar louder than expected. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Chicago Bears, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.